به نام خدا سلام عرض میکنم خانم‌ها و آقایان بینندگان عزیز بعد از چند روز وقت
In the name
گذاشتن
of God,
به اصطلاح
greetings, ladies and
خدمت
gentlemen,
حاضر
dear
شدم
viewers.
خدمتتون
First
سلام
of
عرض
all, I
میکنم
apologize for the few days of absence.
یه بحث خیلی
My
مهم
voice is
داریم
still a little strained due
صحبت
to a
میکنیم
minor illness,
بحث
and I was
امروز
unfortunately unable to be with you.
موضوعی
I
که
hope today I can
خیلی
at least have a
خیلی
brief discussion with you.
اشاره کردیم دیدید
I
بعضی
want to
وقتا
begin this conversation by connecting it to something you have probably all noticed many times before.
فضایی
Have you ever seen certain people whom others describe as extremely annoying?
که بهش
In
میگن
Persian slang, we say they are ruya mokh, meaning someone whose presence really gets on people's nerves. Now here is the interesting point. Do you think that person realizes they are annoying? Never. That person usually believes they are extremely attractive, fascinating, and that everyone is eager to hear their precious wisdom. But reality is often very different. And this leads me to an important conclusion. Perhaps you and I, while talking together right now, may also sometimes have this illusion, thinking we are very impressive people, while in reality, others may secretly find us irritating. But because we are relatives, co-workers, close friends, or family members, they cannot simply cut the relationship off. Social obligations and respect exist, so they tolerate it. Today, I want to briefly and quickly point out a few indicators that can help us evaluate ourselves honestly and recognize whether we might unknowingly fall into this category of annoying people. The first major sign is this. They turn conversations into one-sided speeches. In family gatherings, social events, or friendly discussions, they dominate the conversation with endless monologues. They are simply waiting for an opportunity to start talking. And once they begin, they become extremely talkative and only interested in saying what they themselves want to say. For example, imagine your friend says, "I really enjoyed my trip to northern Iran." If you are one of those people who quickly become annoying, you immediately respond, "Oh yeah? Last year I went to the mountains. It was much better." And then you begin a 1-hour lecture describing your mountain trip. What are you really saying subconsciously? You are trying to imply your experience is not impressive. Mine is more important. Everyone around you politely nods and pretends to listen out of courtesy, but internally they are exhausted. That is exactly the kind of behavior people describe as irritating. The second sign is constantly correcting others. These individuals often have a know-it-all mentality. They continuously fact-check people, correct them, interrupt them, and try to prove themselves intellectually superior. No matter what subject arises, they suddenly become experts. For instance, someone casually says, "Wow, the sun set early today." Immediately, this person responds, "Well, actually, technically the Earth rotated. The sun did not really set." The other person was simply making a casual observation near the window. Nobody asked for an astrophysics lecture. But because this person desperately wants to appear knowledgeable, they turn every simple statement into a scientific debate. Another major sign of annoying personalities is excessive complaining. They constantly whine, complain, and spread negativity. Every environment they enter becomes emotionally toxic. The weather is bad, traffic is terrible, life is unfair, this place is awful, everything is wrong. You simply ask, "Hello, how are you?" And immediately they respond, "Don't even ask." Then begins a 1-hour flood of complaints and misery. I remember once a man was speaking to me during a counseling session, complaining about his wife. He used exactly this expression: "My wife is so annoying." I asked, "What does she do?" He said, "The moment I come home and simply ask, 'How was your day?' she starts complaining nonstop. She talks for an hour about problems, frustrations, her parents, the house, everything imaginable, all because I asked one simple question." Now, if you ask that woman herself whether she was annoying, she would probably say, "No, I'm just expressive and outgoing." But there is a difference between being expressive and emotionally exhausting others. Another characteristic of these people is interrupting others constantly. They cannot tolerate listening patiently. They jump into conversations midway and try to seize control immediately. Wait, let me say something. They never allow others to fully complete their thoughts. Another important sign is that they never ask questions about others. They only talk about themselves. They enter a gathering and immediately begin listing their achievements. This week I accomplished this. I met this person. I went there. But they never stop and ask, how are you? How was your week? Is your family doing well? That kind of self-centered behavior quickly becomes exhausting for everyone around them. Another issue is poor listening. These people may talk endlessly, but when someone else finally speaks, they barely pay attention. They check their phones, look around the room, eat fruit, scroll social media, and show no real focus or respect toward the speaker. Naturally, the other person feels ignored and disrespected. Another important sign is that they fail to recognize fatigue signals from others. They do not notice when people become bored or tired. The listener is yawning, checking the clock, losing energy, but the person continues speaking non-stop, as if nothing is happening. I'm sure many of you have encountered people like this. If you have, write your experiences in the comments. It would actually be quite interesting to discuss these examples together.
بگیره تحملم ندارن، خیلی عجولن. سری میگه اجازه بده من حرفمو بزنم، میخواد حرف خودش رو بزنه و نمیذاره که طرف مقابل حرفش کامل بشه. سوال نپرسیدن از دیگران هم یکی از شاخصهای آدمای رومخه. فقط حرف میزنن.
And do you know why this topic matters so much? Because, as I said earlier, many people who behave this way genuinely do not realize their behavior is unpleasant. That is why I believe all of us should occasionally evaluate ourselves honestly using these criteria. If we recognize these traits in ourselves, we should sincerely try to improve them. Otherwise, we gradually become emotionally unpleasant for others. Another characteristic of these individuals is predictability. They repeat the same stories, the same jokes, and the same memories endlessly. Every gathering becomes a replay of the same 3 stories everyone has already heard dozens of times.
این آدم هم جزء لیست آدم‌های روی مخ تلقی میشه. ویژگی دیگر اینها اینه که در حالی که پرحرفی زیاد میکنن، کسی که اگر احیانا
And finally, another common trait is constant judgment and criticism. They quickly criticize people's appearance, taste, interests, or behavior, usually negatively. His clothes are terrible. That music is ridiculous. Her work is useless, and so on. I hope this video has been useful for you. If God grants another opportunity, I look forward to speaking with you again in future discussions. Thank you very much for liking the videos and for introducing the channel to others. Wherever you are, I wish you success and well-being. Sincerely yours, Amir Mehrdad Khosravi.
بی‌حوصله شده. طرف داره خمیازه میکشه، هی داره ساعتشو نگاه میکنه، اینم انگار نه انگار داره حرفشو میزنه. یه ریز داره حرف میزنه. حتما شما هم اینجور آدما دیدید. اگه دیدید تجربه دارید تو کامنت ها بنویسید. سریع درباره ظاهر افراد، در مورد سلیقه افراد، در مورد رفتار آدم‌های دیگه نظر میدن، معمولاً هم نظر منفی میدن. آره لباسش بده، موسیقی که گوش میده بابا مسخره است، کارش اصلا به درد نمیخوره و این ویژگی ها. امیدوارم این ویدیو براتون مفید بوده باشه. اگر خدا توفیق بده و مجال دوباره باشه، محضر شریفتون عرض ادب میکنه با بحثای جدید. از اینکه لایک میکنید، از اینکه کانال رو به دیگران معرفی میکنید خیلی متشکرم. هر جا هستید موفق باشید. ارادتمند شما، امیر مهرداد خسروی.